The Fellowship Gaboon is a Magnacut blade on titanium grade 5 handles. It is by Fellowship Designs, and it is stupidly light. Good for me personally, but with the current configuration of 2 pins and no spacer, it clocks in at 3.28 ounces. That is my second lightest titanium knife. The only one lighter than that being the ski bones, which is just a skeletal frame of a Balisong. The Gaboon has a very distinct weight system. It does normally come with titanium spacers, but there are also 2 pins that help fasten it in place. That said, with just a spacer and no pins, it is a little bit more handle biased than I prefer. Let's see. I feel like I'm getting a little bit more play than I think. No, but it feels fine. Anyways, the Gaboon has I really like this blade. And some people care a lot about the fact that it's Magnacut. I don't use my knives for sharp knife purposes very often. But I do believe Magnacut blades are very durable and maintain sharpness, and so there isn't really a sacrifice in the actual blade quality. This to me doesn't matter as much as the flipping. If I wanted a blade for the blade's sake, I would say I was gonna say I would just get a folder, but frankly, because I have so many live blades, Balisongs, I wouldn't see the point. So this could be a pretty decent everyday carry. It's actually incredibly light, and so if you wanted to use this as like a carry, it doesn't have a latch system, which is something I personally would care about for like an EDC type Balisong, but also a lot of people fucking hate latches, so not really marking that against it. And because it's just so light, but also quite durable. Like the ski bones, I would worry about it getting crushed. Like quite literally, the ski bones, it being a skeletal frame, could get crushed under a lot of weight. Like if I were to sit my fat ass on it and take a fall, that could damage it. I don't know. I wouldn't want to risk it. However, this is actually quite durable. It is very solid, smooth slabs. But it gets so light because there's so much milling in the handles themselves. Now, speaking of in the handles themselves, you might be able to see there these sort of black spots. These are like these little screws which can affect the weight. Now, the thing is, I removed them, and it's kind of annoying. They're very small, and I thought that I could put in one of these 2 fastener pins on the bottom and put them throughout the handles. It doesn't fit very reliably because of how the screw holes in the handles have threads, and so the pins in here, which are the equivalent of Zen pins, they wiggle within the hole, so I just didn't bother. And you can remove more weight, but because of how light it is already, 3.28 as it is, and with the spacer, it's probably still not more than 3.5. This is already an extremely light Balisong, so it doesn't really feel worth it to like remove even more weight throughout the middle of the Balisong. I was tempted to try just 1 pin on the bottom, but frankly, I don't know. I wouldn't bother. Not to mention because it fits like 2 across. I personally find that I care a lot about symmetry. Now also, Grant did say on his YouTube video that you can these pins on the bottom, the screws that fasten the spacers, which I will just show you real quick, look like this. He says you can fit bushings around these screws and have barrel spacers. However, there's no spare bushings in the Fellowship box, and so I just have not bothered to try that, because then I would have to rummage for bushings, and I think I got rid of all of like the weird rinky-dinky extra bushings that I had from trying to fiddle around with weird shitty rep parts. So I would have to rummage from another Balisong spare bushings, and it just ceased to have been worth trying, especially because I do like this balance. So the Gaboon is like $400 for the raw version. I think the raw version might be $390, but it's very comparable in price. If you were to get an anodization or the spectral laser, personally, if I could, I would get a spectral laser version, but I got traded for this Gaboon, and it was such a good deal that I'm not particularly broken up over not having the special version. Anyways, is the Gaboon worth $400? I would say, with the quality of materials and the Magnacut blade, yeah, the flipping performance is quite nice. And I have said, and I will continue to say, the Gaboon is not for everyone. This Balisong is 3.3 ounces. That is so light. That's like, there are aluminum Balisongs that are heavier than this. There are plastic Balisongs. Honestly, like, I think the Balisongs that I have that are lighter than the Gaboon are the Ski Bones, the Ultralight, and plastic Balisongs, making this one easily my top 5 lightest metal Balisongs. I would say, I think it's the third lightest all in all, and one of them is literally marketed as the Ultra Light. So if you don't like your Balisongs to be that light, you might not. It kind of does feel like a toy. Legitimately, it kind of feels like a very dangerous toy. I mean, all Balisongs kind of do to an extent, but this one in particular being so lean, so small, and so light, that it just kind of is very fidgetable with. It feels very, ouch, very lean and very, I don't know, it's nice. It's just, it's not for everyone. I love it, personally. I think this is great. And this is by far my favorite Fellowship Balisong. Having said, I've only tried the Medusa Trainer V3 before, and I just don't like the Medusa handles because of how heavy it is and how rectangular it is and how handle bias it was. Not that the handle bias part was something that I think is like bad. It just wasn't for me. But the Gaboon handles are much less like rectangular. It is more of a roundness, and with this very nice jimping that's symmetrical on both sides. Ladders are very, very easy. Also, because it's so light, ladders are very easy. And I'm just doing these sort of lazy infinite ladders. But if I were to try, I think it would it would fly just because of how light it is. I have not tried a hognose. I hear the hognoses are peculiar, but then again, so are prismas. So I mean, I do like aluminum Balisongs, and a lot of people don't. And the hognose I want to say is sub 200, so it's a good price. Albeit, I think the name is kind of dumb. The blade is a little odd looking, but I don't mind odd looking blades. I prefer an odd looking blade over like a boring one, unless the blade looks just completely fucking stupid. Anyways, so that said, since I have not tried an Empress, and I have not tried a hognose, the Gaboon feels really good. But it is so different. It is so completely different from his other works. And considering that this is a titanium knife that might honestly be lighter than the hognose, buyers beware. Is it worth $400? Yes, I do think so. It is a lot of money. Anything over $100 is a lot of money. Frankly, $100 is a lot of money, depending on who you're asking. But the Gaboon is a high quality knife. I don't worry about this getting damaged. I don't worry about the handles snapping or breaking. They're not fragile. They're not flimsy. They are very sturdy. They just are also very light. There is a lot of customization with the weights. I wouldn't bother with most of it just because like the screws, you know, it's already so light. But it does have adjustable balance with like the spacers. Personally, I think the spacers are by themselves just make it a little too handle biased for me. If you prefer handle bias, fuck yeah, go wild. Do spacers. Do spacers with 2 pins. Do spacers with 1 pin. So yeah, there's a lot of things that are really good about this. I honestly think that if Grant were to make this Balisong more of a traditional weight, 3.8 even, it would maybe have a wider appeal. I legitimately really enjoy that it fills this spot in my collection that nothing else really fills. I'm like, oh, I want to flip something light, but I want it to, like, I don't know, like the ultralight is really light and a lot more fragile too, and likewise the ski one. So if I want to flip something light and nimble and agile, this feels really good. This feels so good. Honestly, also, actually my ultralight might weigh more with all the inserts. So yeah, I'll just run real quick to get it just because I'm curious. My ultralight. Nope, okay, it's under 3 ounces. But my ultralight has all the inserts. It's still under 3 ounces, so it is very light, even compared to the Gaboon. The Gaboon just has like a nice flow to it. The ultralight feels even more like a toy. So if you like the ultralight, maybe the Gaboon's for you. If you don't like the ultralight, I would say probably don't bother. Maybe borrow one. But yeah, the Gaboon, I personally love how it fills this niche that nothing else in my collection quite matches, despite having this too. It just still feels very unique and very fun to flip. And just has different momentum in the handles and the tip. I think it does carry more momentum. And also, not to mention, this is with all the inserts. It's even lighter without the inserts. So yeah, hopefully, maybe if Grant does like a version similar to the Gaboon, but like heavier. I was gonna say like normally light, there's the Marin light, but then the Gaboon heavy. The Gaboon heavy might be silly sounding, but honestly, I think that would really feel good for a lot of flippers. Anyways, that's that. This Balisong is fun, and I really enjoy it. If you like this video, please check out the channel. I have an unboxing video where I talk about my initial impressions. I now have a lot more experience with this knife. And I just very much enjoy flipping it. But also subscribe, because I do daily uploads, and I just have a lot of different knives that I cover. Also, please check out the copy in the description, because a little bit goes a long way. Mostly it just helps cover overhead of shipping when I do have knives that I try. Not all of them are mine, such as the Sliff T that I'm borrowing, and it's $10 to ship one way, and I'm trading my own, so it's like $20 back and forth. And so if you do contribute a couple of bucks, it just helps. I'm paying out of pocket for all of this stuff for the most part. I've only had like 2 knives ever that I was just gifted in a pass around to like cover, and I had like 1 knife ever that I ever just got for free to review. So all of these knives I'm paying for out of pocket. So a couple bucks goes a long way. Thanks again. Like the video, and I'll see you next time. Happy flipping, everyone.